Hi there. You've probably seen this pyramid graphic in other PowerPoint presentations. The reason for that is because they're very clean, layered, and easy to understand. I'm going to show you how I created this graphic using Ideogram and PowerPoint. So let's go ahead and get started. Alright, so on my screen is Ideogram, our text-to-image AI generator. And I've been using this application for over a year and I'm pretty happy with it. One thing I wanted to point out is that I do have a pro account. One of the reasons for that is because everything that I generate is private. So since I typically use this for work, I like to make sure that anything that I create is only visible by me. So let's get started with creating our pyramid graphic. Now, normally you'd start with a prompt, but in this case, I don't need to reinvent the wheel. There's a good chance that if I come here to the left side, I'm finding I can search for a pyramid graphic that already exists. Someone has already created this. Remember, we were saying they're pretty popular, so there's a good chance we'll have a wide variety. And since I've already practiced this a bit before, there is this one here is the one I'll be using to replicate the one that we started this video with. So I'll click on it once to take a closer look. And the goal for Ideogram is the only thing that we want from this inspiration infographic is the actual shape of the pyramid, how it's layered, and that 3D visual effect. I don't need a title or text or anything on the physical pyramid. I'm going to add that later on in PowerPoint, only because it is just much easier and much faster in my experience. Ideogram has gotten really great with text. However, when you're including, the more text that you include, the more varied the generations become, and getting everything just right is more challenging. So for simplicity's sake, we're just going to generate the visual alone. And I'll walk you through on how I do that. Here on the right side, we're going to select the remix option. That will bring the prompt that we used to create this inspiration visual. And you'll also see that it's been added here as a style reference. We'll go into that more in a moment. But first, we're going to come to this prompt and we need to do some editing. So that way it's specific to the visual that we need. We're going to start by removing any text references. So we don't need it to display any text of any kind. So we'll go ahead and remove this part of this prompt. So we want a visually engaging infographic pyramid, period. And then the pyramid tiers represent, but in our case, they won't be representing. So we'll say the pyramids. Actually, I don't think we need the sentence at all. So let's go ahead and delete this sentence. Each tier includes a relevant icon. We don't need that either. So includes, or let's say each tier is rendered. That's probably more of what we need. Each tier is rendered in a distinct color gradient. We'll remove vibrant there. Set against a clean white background to maximize readability and impact. Subtle shadows, that works. But we don't need the frame, so we'll go ahead and remove that. And yeah, we're not left with much, but trust me, we will get there. All right, so we have our prompt, and I'm going to select that I want it to be quality over speed. So we'll select quality, uses more credits. We'll leave magic prompt on. I'll explain what that is in a little bit. Style, we already have our reference style, and the colors. This is where I make sure to include the hex colors for our brand to make sure that our pyramid is on brand. All right, so that's been included. All right, and let's see what it produces. We'll go ahead and select remix here. And you'll see a pop-up on the bottom right corner. However, it's small, the preview. So I'll go to the far left side and select creations, and that's where I can go see what it is creating. So here we have a few instances, and it's always wise to just try that same prompt a few times to see how close you can get. And in a moment, I'll show you why. We're going to try to get a little bit closer to what we're looking for. It just takes a few more seconds, but the quality is where I need it to be. So in my opinion, it's worth the wait. Okay, and we want to also be mindful that we want to keep it to 5 tiers because we're in this particular infograph needs to accommodate 5 different layers, including that pinnacle. So we have one that's close. Let's see if it, okay. I'm starting to see something more of what I had previously generated. So here, this one here on the left, I'm going to open that up so you can take a closer look. So this one's cleaner. This one has 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 levels. That works. The only thing that's not working for me, well, the colors aren't on brand, and then we have text, but we can fix this. So I'm going to start by correcting. We're going to correct the colors. That's what we'll start with. So I'm going to select to remix this one, since this one's even closer to what we want in comparison to the original. So let's see, a vibrant infographic pyramid illustration set against a pristine white background. Transition through distinct color gradients, shifting into deep teal. Let's see, actually we'll call this deep navy. At the base to a bright, what will be our bright? Let's say a bright green. At the apex, creating a visually striking ascent. Each tier is clearly labeled, but we don't need it. Here we go. I'm going to remove this sentence, it's not needed. Subtle shadows and slight 3D effect. Okay, and then here, because we have a color palette we wanted to reference, and we don't want it to compete with the inspiration one. So I'm going to bring it down to 20. See if we can get closer to our color palette, and then select remix. And we'll go back to the left side where we find creations, brings us to our creations page. And in just a few moments, we will see hopefully something closer to what we were trying to achieve. Okay. So I see one, see this one's pretty close. Has some text, but the colors are certainly a lot closer to where I need them to be. I'm going to go ahead and remix this one. And let's see, is there any, there's no, oh, there is, I'm just going to remove that sentence. Prioritize growth text. Yeah, we don't need that part. Okay, the background is a soft diffused white. Okay, everything else looks good. I'm going to bring this one a little bit down because I don't want that text. Hopefully no text will show up, but let's see. And then back to our creations page. And as you can see, this is pretty typical as far as a workflow. There's a try and try again. But we are so close to what we need. This one here, almost in the middle, we have our colors. We don't see any text. Let's see, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 beautiful layers. I'm kind of torn between this one and this one, but actually this one looks really good too. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, because I have 6, which is fine. I can work with 6. So I'm gonna go with this one. I really like it. It's really clean, and except for the text at the bottom, but that we can remove that by opening this up in Canvas. So I'm going to go ahead and select Open in Canvas. And this feature wasn't available when I first started using this application, so it's been very handy. All right, so here we have, okay, so what I want, let me show you here. It's easier to see on the far left side. There's a few options here, and we're going to get rid of that text. So I'm going to select Magic Fill. I'm going to just do a mask over it. This is the part I just don't need it to be there. And then here we'll go draw over parts of the image you want to change. We'll select Next. Here it provides the text, but this is specific to the Magic Fill. So I'm going to say fill with background, remove text. And we'll say Magic Fill. And it takes a moment to generate that. And there, it's gone. So now that we have our finished visual, well, nearly finished, But the tiers, that's exactly where it needs to be. So we'll go ahead and select download PNG and save it somewhere on our computer. And then the next step will be to add that text using PowerPoint. All right, so here we have our pyramid that we created in Ideogram in PowerPoint. And this is where we're going to add the text to our pyramid. So it's a lot easier than you might imagine. So we are going to go here at the top left side, we're looking for the insert menu. And here we're looking for the option to insert a text box. Here we found it. And then once we see that our cursor has turned into that symbol, we'll click into our image. And now I'm going to type in tier 0. I'm going to rotate this. Well, first I'm going to change this. I want it to be a white text so it offsets nicely. And then we're going to rotate it here. Just a little trick, because I've done this a few times. We're just going to eyeball what would be center here. And then as far as the rotation, I try to line it up as best as I can against that bottom line there. So we're just going to try our best to do that. That looks good right there. If you want a little bit more precision, you can also go up to the top where it says shape format. And then we have rotation here, and then more rotation options. And then you can see that degree by what that's rotated. But that looks good. Like if I were to try to reduce it, no, I like it a little bit more. But if you prefer to do it this way, that works too. All right, so we have that. Now I'll just eyeball it here center. And then I'm going to do a copy and paste with that text box selected and just do the same thing, except we need to rotate it the other way. Make sure that's selected and then rotate the text box. We're going to try to line it up here. But instead of tier 0, let's see, yeah, that's pretty good. Instead of tier 0, I'm going to say, I want to give this more of a description. So we're going to call this self-service. Okay. And we're going to repeat. There we go. And now copy and paste. Move this to the next level. And there we go. Tier 1. And I'm going to select this text box. Copy it. Control-C, Control-V to paste. And then bring that text over here. And just change the text to service desk. All right, and then you get the idea. So instead of redoing each layer, I'm going to fast forward and just bring you to the slide where I've already completed, where I've added the text to each layer. And so we have our visual nearly where we want it. The next step to this would be to group it. So right now, they're all individual. It's all individual text plus the visual. So really easy way to do that, to group everything together so it's one image. We're going to select Control A. That selects everything on this slide. But now that the image and all the text boxes are all selected, we'll hit Control G to group it. And now it's all one image. We do need to take it a bit further because it won't scale. Let me show you what I mean. So I can move it, right? It looks like it's all one image. Great. Except if I want to make it smaller, this is where it gets a little distorted. So a workaround for that is actually quite simple. We're going to take a screenshot with it nice and large like this. I like to use the Snipping Tool. So I'll go ahead, take that, bring it to the top left corner, and then just drag it to the bottom right corner. And now I have my image, which it's right over here. And I will save this somewhere on my computer. Great. And now that I have it, I can now plug it into my PowerPoint presentation slide. We'll go to Insert, Pictures. And now it'll actually scale because now it's all one image. So So reduce this here. And it's a little wide, so we can actually make this a little taller and it still looks good. I like to line it up with the text. Make it a little bit more narrow. Okay. And there you have it. That is your infographic that you've customized not only with your brand colors, but also with the text that you need. And there you have it, a custom infographic pyramid with your branded colors and text using Ideogram and PowerPoint. If you found this video helpful, please feel free to like, subscribe, or share with your colleagues and friends. If you have any questions, feel free to leave a comment. And thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next one.